You kill one person, it changes you. You kill 5, it's not about changing anymore. It's who you are. Quintero knew this. He'd seen it in other men, had seen it in himself. He saw it now as he watched Nick Mason prepare, remembering the day he picked him up at the gates of the federal prison in Terre Haute. Remembering Mason's first job in the motel room. The look on his face afterward, blank, bloodless, when he brought the Mustang to the chop shop. When he said he'd never do it again. Until the next phone call. That was the unwritten contract Nick Mason had signed. 20 years of his life back in exchange for his service to Darius Cole. On call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to do whatever was asked of him. No matter what it was. Mason stripped off his shirt to reveal the lean, hard muscles of a middleweight and pale white skin with no tattoos. Even after 5.5 years inside, he had come out without one drop of jailhouse ink on his body. Cole had made sure of it. Mason strapped on the soft armor tactical vest, thick enough to stop anything up to a .44 Magnum. Then he pulled on the black turtleneck over that. With the black pants, the black rubber-soled shoes, it was the uniform of a professional. He took the black balaclava, formed it into a skull cap, and put it on over his close-cut hair. He pulled down the mask, adjusted it across his eyes, took one look in the mirror. Satisfied, he rolled it back up. Quintero took the black canvas bag from his shoulder and put it down on the table. Mason unzipped the bag and looked inside. "Everything you'll need is in there," Quintero said. "You have to remember, these are high-end guys. Top shape. Know how to use their firearms." "How many of them?" "Between 10 and 12, he said. "Not enough to stop you." Mason shook his head as he tried on the scuba gloves. "What's the most important thing I told you?" Quintero asked. "Stay off the 21st floor," Mason said. "At exactly 10 o'clock, it's going to blow. Once that happens, you'll be able to walk right out of there." Mason nodded. "Tell me the plan again," Quintero said. "Step by step." "The delivery truck," Mason said. "It enters the parking garage at exactly 9:35 p.m. Nick Mason watched the truck turn into the parking garage from Columbus Drive. It stopped at the large metal door while the driver waited for the man at the window to slide the door open. This gave Mason 20 seconds to climb under the truck, grab onto the exhaust system brackets and lift his body's weight from the concrete, the canvas bag looped tight to his back. The scuba gloves were thin and flexible, giving him a good grip and protecting every surface, even the underside of this truck, from fingerprints. The truck rolled 100 yards until it came to a stop and the door slid shut behind it. When the truck was turned off, Mason lowered himself to the ground and stayed there, the canvas bag next to him. It was 9:37 p.m. Most of the business offices on the ground floor closed, the dinner rush at the restaurants over. Mason waited for the driver to get out of the truck, then followed a dozen yards behind him. He was inside the building. The Aqua, 82 stories high, one of the most distinctive buildings in downtown Chicago, on the north side of the Loop, with undulating balconies that wrap around the building on all 4 sides like rippling water. Inside, the theme continues through all of the decor, from the blue and green color scheme to the saltwater fish tank in the lobby. Mason moved quickly, without rushing, knowing exactly where to find the freight elevator. The target was on the 43rd floor, so he hit the button for 42, then used the fireman's override to take him all the way to his floor without stopping. When he got to the 42nd floor, Mason stepped out of the elevator into the empty hallway. He spotted a room service tray on the floor outside one of the rooms, picked that up, and emptied it of all of the items except for the silver plate cover. Then he went to the stairwell at the end of the hallway and took the stairs up to 43. Mason cracked open the stairwell door and scanned the hallway. The marshal was sitting in a chair outside the door, 7 or 8 doors down. Young, maybe 30, stocky. He looked more bored than vigilant. Mason opened up his canvas bag, took out the Mossberg 500 shotgun, pistol grip model with the shorter barrel, 6-shell capacity. It was loaded with what the manufacturer artfully called a crowd control munition, silicone plugs that they said would cause non-lethal but incapacitative trauma upon impact. Incapacitative trauma. In other words, it would only make you wish you were dead. "You need to get over this," Quintero said to him. "Killing one man and leaving everybody else alive." Mason didn't answer. He loaded the plugs into the shotgun. "That gun in your hands, you think it cares who's on the other end?" Mason looked up at him. "You gotta be the same way," Quintero said, "before this bullshit gets you killed." Mason took the H&K USP semi-automatic from the bag and put it in his belt. The cartridge held 15 9mm rounds with a 16th already chambered. Finally, he took out the stun baton and hooked it to his belt. 18 inches long, 3 pounds of reinforced aluminum with a police force level rating of 12 million volts that would shut down a man's entire neuromuscular system. One more piece of insurance. Mason dropped the empty canvas bag to the floor, put a pair of low-profile plugs into his ears, then took one final moment to breathe, to focus on what was about to happen. Because once it started, it would all flow quickly, one movement after another without a single beat of hesitation.